it's your doula, Leonie, here for my first installment of videos where we will discuss all things bumps, births, and babies. Let's talk. Today I want to share with you why these topics are aligned with both my passion and my purpose. Growing up, it was my dream to have a career where I would be able to help bring babies from the womb to earthside. Initially, I thought maybe I'd be an OBGYN, and then later I decided, well, how about a labor and delivery nurse? I was fascinated with the idea of how life was created and how that life was brought into the world. Then I had my own experiences, not once, but twice. After my second and most traumatic experience in childbirth, I learned about the alarming statistics associated with maternity mortality here in the United States, and I saw that as a call to action. So now, after a long career as a public servant in government, I have chosen to live in my purpose. I've studied to be a doula so that I can support those families as they emotionally and physically deal with the process of labor and delivery. And if they choose, perhaps, I can also help them thrive as they navigate their postpartum journey. Okay, so my second birth experience was about 15 years after my first. Yep, you heard that right, 15 years. I thought I'd be older and wiser and have either, a very similar birth experience or better because I had more information. But I was wrong, it was much different. From the dismissive attitudes of my OBGYN during my prenatal care, to the hospital staff rushing to put an end to my 20 plus hours of labor in the hospital, it ended with my baby girl being delivered through a cesarean birth. An emergency cesarean birth that I think was unnecessary. Why? Because I had just gotten to about 9 centimeters dilated when they wanted me to begin pushing. Not 10, but 9. Pushing against a cervix that wasn't fully dilated very likely contributed to the swelling of my cervix and made it utterly impossible for her to get through at that time. Her heart rate started to decline, but only when I pushed. In hindsight, that was. I realized that when I wasn't pushing, her heart rate was perfectly fine. So why not wait till 10 centimeters? Well, a couple things. There's more money in a cesarean section, and they needed that bed, perhaps. Nonetheless, I had this emergency cesarean section, which landed me with an E. coli infection and the development of a seroma pocket of fluid behind my womb. That fluid leaked out of my cesarean wound scar, and the way my OBGYN decided to treat that in the clinic was to rip open a partially healed cesarean wound, which was so painful and grueling. She had to scrub it clean, and she said to me, this now has to heal from the inside out. That healing looked like me going to the clinic daily to have my wound scrubbed and packed with gauze to encourage the healing process. It took a full 8 weeks for that wound to heal. I had an open wound. For the first 6 weeks, every day, reporting to the clinic to get scrubbed. Not to mention, on the weekends, having to go for that cleaning of my wound in an urgent care environment that wasn't prepared to really treat that wound and recontaminating me with E. coli. It was rough. My first experience was a vaginal birth, a beautiful 8-pound, 6-ounce baby boy, now 24 years old. He is still the apple of my eye. Again, being rushed because my labor process was so lengthy. They threatened me with a cesarean section multiple times until finally I dilated to a full 10 centimeters. They used the suction after pushing for 3+ hours. They decided to use a suction to help encourage him to come out of my vagina. They did not give me an episiotomy, but I ended up still having a perineal tear that took about 45 minutes to repair. It was rough. The swelling that was developed from that tear prevented me from being able to use the bathroom and pee without assistance for almost 24 hours. I ultimately brought this baby home after his circumcision, which they didn't properly bandage, and he bled for hours after we got home. And we ended up having to take him to the emergency room. So not the best birthing experiences, but I will tell you that having that emergency cesarean birth was the scariest. And I believe that that is the number one contributor to our maternity mortality rate. In fact, the number of cesarean births in the United States increases from year to year. And in 2023, that number was 32% of childbirths. And I honestly believe that number is higher than that, but that's what's reported. Ideally, we should not, as a nation, as a people, be bringing babies earthside through cesarean births no more than 10 to 15%, and we're doubling that ideal number. So we've got to do better. We've got to get doulas in our hospital rooms, in our birth centers, in our home births, to help people advocate for themselves, to help reduce the number of emergency cesarean sections. This is my passion. I'd like to hear your stories so I can learn from them. And hopefully through these videos, you'll learn from me. So if you're comfortable, share your story on social media using the hashtag #ShareYourBirthStory and tag me at Leonae_the-doula. I thank you for your time today. Make sure to comment on this video, giving me ideas for future videos. I look forward to more of these discussions. I want to hear from you. Like and subscribe. Take care.